I think Charles Oliveira, if he does win this, is gonna fight maybe. I think Charles, if he wins
Volk.
this, I think he could. I think, yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, that's obviously the next matchup.
Yeah, that's the next matchup. I
I
think that's the
wonder
next
if Volk
matchup.
moves
Whoever
up.
wins,
If Islam wins, I don't know if Volk moves up because that's not as
that's a
interesting.
bad matchup. That's a bad matchup.
It's not a good
Yeah, I
matchup.
mean, I think Volk. I think Volk really wants to move up. I think, like as a fighter, like it gets boring when you're just like beating like everyone in the same division. Like you saw with John Jones, like
You
you
saw
lose
with Usman.
motivation. Yeah, you lose motivation, and then you like don't like start underestimating opponents, and you eventually lose or like almost
Underperform.
lose like John Jones and Dominic Reyes. Like obviously,
Yeah.
like we think he lost, but like the refs like had him winning by a slight edge. So I just think that Volk and it's not at that point it has to be like what gets you up in the morning. And
Yeah, that's true.
I don't think Josh Emmett or Yair Rodriguez is getting Volk motivated at all. So I think he wants to move up.
I
He
think,
wants to challenge,
yeah.
even if he may lose. He wants to challenge at least, you know.
I think Volkanovski is the kind of guy, and we've talked about it before, like the short guy with something to prove with a chip on his shoulder. Like, I think Volkanovski really does have that chip on his shoulder. Like,
He
he's
does, yeah.
really short. Like, he's got that natural something to prove. And guys
Always,
are
yeah.
always underestimating him. I think now he gets the respect because he beat Holloway dominantly. But still, I think Volkanovski, if there's this is why I think he has potential to become the GOAT, is because even if he stays at featherweight, I don't see him being that guy who's not motivated. However, I
That's
mean,
true.
business wise and legacy wise, I think Volkanovski's. If I'm Volkanovski, of course, here's the difference between me and Volkanovski. He's a beast. He's willing to take a risk. I mean, I'm willing to take risks, but like if I was a fighter, I'm not a fighter. This is the fucking thing. But Volkanovski wants to move up. If I was Volkanovski, I'd stay at featherweight and just get 10 title defenses and go down as the GOAT. Like a John Jones. I think Volkanovski has potential to be a John Jones. He could fight 3 times a year. Well, what if he fights 3 times
Yeah,
a year for
honestly,
the next 2 years? He gets 6 more defenses. He's the GOAT. He's already pound
that's
for pound
easy.
number one. That's what I think he should do. If he moves up and he gets knocked out or he gets submitted, like it just kind of puts a halt to his career a little bit. And I don't like that. But again, Volkanovski might just be the kind of guy that's just, and first of
Wants a
all,
challenge, yeah.
wants a challenge. First of all, Volkanovski, if he's better at 155, meaning if he has more power at 155 and if he's faster than the 155ers, I don't see anyone beating him at 155.
Yeah,
If he's
you
better
may
at
be right.
155, but if he's a little bit worse, I could see guys beating him. I just think that there's a chance that he could be better because his reach is really long. He's fast. He's a big guy, even though he's short. He's a big guy for
He weighed
145.
200 at a point, you know?
Yeah, like that's a scary thought. I mean, if Volkanovski's, I mean, if he has a speed advantage at featherweight, imagine his speed at lightweight.
Oh,
You know?
that's going to be and against a guy like Max Holloway, you had a speed advantage of like
Yeah,
nobody has a speed advantage over Max Holloway, and
exactly.
I
Like, what is he going to look like against a Justin Gagey or a
or
Dustin
Islam
Poirier?
Makhachev.
I think he could fucking destroy some guys up there. I think he's
Yeah,
better than and Poirier is first of all. I think Poirier is still a beast. I think he's still incredible. And losing to Charles there's no shame in that. Like Charles Oliveira is obviously one of the best on earth and could go down as the greatest lightweight of all time. We'll see. But Justin Gagey, I think Volkanovski smokes
oh
him.
yeah, I agree with you. I agree
I
with you.
think Volkanovski smokes Michael Chandler. I think it's rough in the first round. If he gets out of the first round, I think he smokes him.
Yeah,
I think Volkanovski smokes most guys. I think he beats Gamrot. I think he beats Beneil
yeah,
Dariush.
I agree.
I think that
Do you think he
we'll
beats
see.
Hazeev?
Viziv is a tough matchup for
That's
Volk.
yeah.
That's a tough one, but
It'll be a
I
striking
think
match.
that's a really interesting fight. You know, I think that Viziv is fast, but he's not as fast as Volkanovski, and
He's
I
the
could
better
see
boxer though. He's the
he's a
better
better,
striker though.
yeah. That's probably honestly, in my opinion, that's the most interesting matchup that there is if Volkanovski fights at lightweight because
I think Hazeev beats him. I think Fiziev beats him.
He could though.
I think he'd finish Volk.
But let me
I
let me
think with
say
that
this. Let me say
power,
this. Let me say this. RDA had close rounds with Fiziev and actually won a round against
yeah,
Fiziev.
but that was because of his grappling. Volkanovski doesn't have that kind of grappling. Also,
But RDA
RDA's
didn't have success with the grappling in that
he
fight.
did he took him down. And that's why he won that one round. He
Okay,
got the
fair enough.
takedown.
But even then, in the striking, it was close. I actually, now that
But
I
also
think about it,
the chin on RDA is
I
better.
don't think Fiziev beats Volk. I think Volk beats him. I now that I think about
But
it,
how though? How though? How would it happen?
I genuinely think, and I'll say it now, I think Fiziev stand up is a little overrated. I think he's great. Hold on. This is in contrast to Volk. And this is why I say this. First of all, guys, it's not Muay Thai. It's MMA. Striking is going to be a little different. And here's my point. Volkanovski does have the ability to take someone down. He's a beast. He did rugby. Like he's a beast. He's a tank. Also, we saw him beat the shit out of Brian Ortega on the ground. If he gets guys down, he's good in the top position. But what I want to say about the striking is Volkanovski, in my opinion, is the best striker aside from Cyril Gahn. I think he's pound for pound the best striker in the UFC. He's so fast. He's so good. I mean, think about the way he just beat Max. And Max Holloway is an amazing striker. That was a stand-up fight. He beat the shit out of Max. After the first round, he hardly got touched. I mean, there was the fourth round, he got touched a little bit, but
not really though. Yeah,
that's the thing. Volkanovski dominated Max. Volkanovski's gonna be faster than Fiziev. I've seen Fiziev fight. He's got great technique, but he's not the quickest dude we've ever seen.
Yeah, Volk will have the speed.
I don't think his striking is. I don't think he has the volume needed to beat a guy like Volk, and that's where I see him losing the fight. Is because I've seen Fiziev gas. I've seen him get tired. He's able to keep his gas tank in check when he's fighting a guy like RDA, who's a little older, who's a little slower, who's not the best striker. Volkanovski's got some of the best cardio in the UFC. He's a pressure fighter, high volume. He's always outworking guys, and he's extremely fast, and his striking is so technical. That's where I think, like, listen, I think that Volkanovski tires him out, and if he can avoid a KO, if he can avoid getting knocked out early on, I think eventually he's just too much for Fiziev. I could see Fiziev gassing and just, getting lit up in the later rounds. And that's the thing. That's why. So when I say striking is overrated, I mean in contrast to a guy like a Volk, who, in my opinion, in my opinion, I think Volk could be a better striker than Fiziev. I know Fiziev is got great Muay Thai, but just because he comes from the Muay Thai background, that's not enough for me to say, okay, well, because he's from the Muay Thai background, he's a better striker. He's a great striker. He's one of the best in the UFC. I still think Volk is a better striker. I think Volkanovski's just in general a better striker. So
yeah,
it's a tough fight.
But I think Volk is clearly gonna have the power. If he can get it out of the first 2 or 3 rounds, he's gonna win the fight.
Yeah.
I just think not the power. I think Volk is clearly gonna have the speed over Fiziev, and if he can get it out of the first 3 rounds, I think he would win that fight just based off of Fiziev, how he gasses out. But I think Fiziev's got a lot of power though. You know what I mean? Volk has never felt that kind of power since. I mean, I know he fought at different weight classes, but he was a bit heavier too at that point. So he hasn't felt that power from a guy like Fiziev. But like you said though, if it gets into the first 3 rounds, Volk will probably win that fight. So now that you really made your point, I leaning towards what you're saying a bit, but I still think that's a toss up.
Yeah.
Like a more of a 50-50 fight.
And don't get me wrong, Fiziev's striking is good. It's very good. It's great.
Yeah. Volk is just gonna have the speed over him and the stamina. Those are those are very
the thing is, I
just
remember seeing Fiziev fight Bobby Green, and in the third round, Bobby Green was lighting him up.
That was real messy.
And he gassed. And I think that Volk is gonna put the same pressure, if not more, than Bobby Green. And the last 2 guys that Fiziev has fought, Brad Riddell and RDA,
and
they're not near the same level as Volk. They're just not.
No, they're not.
And you're right. In the striking, Brad Riddell, sure, he's a good striker. He trains with Volk. He's nowhere near the level of striking that Volk
No,
is.
not at all. Not at all. Yeah.